Polyamory. What does that word mean to you? Is it good? Is it bad? Are polyamorous people just a bunch of hypersexual hedonists? Answers to these questions and more coming right up. Kind of. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Leslie and I am a life coach based here in Brisbane, Australia. And I am back with part 2 of things people keep getting wrong about polyamory. In part 1, I outlined 5 common misconceptions about polyamory, and in this video, I've got 5 more for you. Before I start this list, I want to remind you that I am a professional coach, so if you're looking for direct guidance through your personal situation, you can get in touch and book a free introductory session with me. There are also a lot of amazing resources available to guide you through some basic principles of ethical non-monogamy and polyamory, and I will be making a review video about some of those resources soon, so make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. Now, whether you are new to polyamory or thinking about diving into that world, or if you're just curious as to what it's all about, here are some more common myths about polyamory to be aware of. I did 1 through 5 in part 1, so here I'm starting from number 6. Myth number 6. Polyamory is what couples do to save a dull relationship. Polyamory is not just something that happens when an already established couple decides to open up. Plenty of people who practice different forms of ethical non-monogamy don't even have a so-called primary partner, or they may be a couple who were each already polyamorous when they met, or they may reject the idea of a hierarchy altogether, so no one is primary or secondary. My point here is that there are so many different possible dynamics, it would be pointless to try to describe them all here. People need to get past this idea that polyamory is just a thing that centers around a couple, or that it's something couples do to spice up their lives. Because to think that way, ironically, can generate a lot of very toxic behavior. And yes, there are some couples who go into it thinking that it will sort of fix relationship problems they already have, but it can actually make things a lot worse. When you start any major life change from a broken foundation, whatever you build on top of that foundation will not be sustainable. And while that foundational work is being done, don't drag other people into, your relationship problems. Sort your stuff out first, please. There are so many reasons a person may be polyamorous. I made a video about this with one of my partners, Mateo, so check that out in order to hear our deep dive into our reasons. Myth number 7. In polyamorous relationships, anything goes. It's all free love and no dramas. There is no single correct way to do polyamory. That said, there are plenty of ways to do it wrong. What I mean by that is that a lot of what people think they know about polyamory comes from severe misrepresentations in popular media. That means that sometimes people enter into a polyamorous way of loving as individuals or as a couple with the idea that they'll just learn as they go. And as long as everyone involved knows that they're not exclusive, then it's all good. But I'm afraid it's not that simple. Because we're talking about real human beings with real lives and real feelings. And engaging ethically means a lot more than just saying something like,
"Hey, you know I'm dating a bunch of people, so you just need to be okay with that."
It also means nurturing good communication, being clear about each person's boundaries and expectations, respecting each person's needs, their time, their family, their responsibilities, and a lot of other things. It's not all fun and games. When it works, it's amazing. But when shit hits the fan, it doesn't just impact those individual daters. For example, if you live in an area with a relatively small polyamorous community, it's really easy for word to spread about someone's dickish behavior. And even if you're not being a total jerk in your dating life, if you are practicing polyamory with any sort of hierarchy, any secondary partner you might engage with still needs to be able to express dissatisfaction when something goes wrong without the threat of immediately being dismissed or discarded. Again, real people with real lives and real feelings. It's not the and show. People need to stop treating other people like secondary characters in their own personal development journey. And that leads very nicely into myth number 8. The relationship of the primary couple must be protected at all costs. This is where we really start to get into a little thing often referred to as couples privilege. If you're starting off in the world of ethical non-monogamy by opening up your existing monogamous relationship, it is important to remember that there will likely be changes to your own relationship. They could be very good changes, or they may be not so good changes. They may be a bit uncomfortable. Yes, it is important to be mindful of behaviors that may negatively impact your primary relationship, but that does not mean that anyone else you date deserves to be treated as if they don't matter. For example, issues around privacy may come up. Your primary partner is not entitled to read messages you receive from someone you're dating or from another partner unless that other person has consented to sharing that information. Another example of couples privilege is when one person in the relationship attempts to veto the people or activities another person gets involved with. Expressing concerns about things that may bother you, yeah, that's fine. But what is not okay is doing things like banning your partner from seeing someone just because you don't like them or because you feel threatened by them, or as some sort of punishment for something your partner did, or pressuring your partner to cancel a date with short notice. Not okay. People are not toys, and treating them that way is not ethical. The things that will protect the primary relationship are things like solid communication, mutual respect, a commitment to speaking your truth, and mutual trust. Whether or not there is another partner involved has no bearing on whether or not these things exist in your primary relationship. And if they don't exist, then you've got some work to do before you get involved with other people, before someone else becomes collateral damage in your existing relationship problems. Myth number 9. Polyamory is just for people who haven't found the one. I think it would be kind of hilarious to go up to a parent with a bunch of kids and say, "Oh, did you have a second one because the first one wasn't good enough?" Now, I'm not trying to draw a false equivalency here, but that's just an illustration of this flawed notion that we're all supposed to have a one and only true love. Where that whole notion came from is like a whole other series of videos. But to save me having to make them, one resource to check out is the Netflix show Explained, and their episode in season 1 titled Monogamy. It gives a pretty good overview of how monogamy became like the norm in society. One of the unfortunate reasons that this myth is so pervasive is that there are people who engage in a polyamorous lifestyle and eventually choose their favorite and then reward them with monogamy. This is not ethical polyamory, especially when it's done intentionally. Just don't do it. Please. And if you are a monogamous person and you're interested in dating someone who happens to be polyamorous, it would be a huge mistake to enter into that relationship with the idea that you can somehow charm them into monogamy. Why is that a problem? Well, for one thing, it denies consent to the other people your potential partner may be dating. If that person does leave their other partners for you, that makes you complicit in this very unethical behavior. All is not fair in love and monogamy. This kind of thing happens all the time. I personally know so many polyamorous people who have gone through this, and I'm one of those people. And with that, I would like to issue this reminder to anyone claiming polyamory under false pretenses. Just because you now have fewer people to disappoint romantically does not automatically make you a person with integrity. Finally, for now, myth number 10. The best way to start a polyamorous relationship is to find a third person to share with your partner. One of the most common first questions that people ask when they join online groups related to polyamory is some version of the following.
My girlfriend and I are new to poly, and we're looking for another girl to join our relationship, but we're having so much trouble finding someone who wants to date both of us. What should we do?
This question is almost always immediately followed by criticism and accusations of unicorn hunting. Now, what is unicorn hunting? Well, it refers usually to a male-female couple searching for a bisexual woman, again, usually a woman, to date them, sometimes only them, as a pair. This woman is called a unicorn because it's believed that they are extremely hard to find to the point of being mythical. One of the main reasons that online polyamorous communities react so strongly against this question and this practice is that it brings together so many of the most problematic practices in any kind of open relationship. Couples privilege, disrespect, a one-penis policy, being treated like a second-class citizen, and the list goes on and on and on. And it would take a lot of very skillful communication, a lot of education, about polyamory and a lot of relationship skills that often only come with experience. But even from a practical standpoint, think about how challenging it can be for one person to find one other person to form a deep romantic connection with. And then, like, statistically, the chances of that person also wanting that person's partner, if everyone is behaving like their true selves, it's slim chances that it's going to happen in a way that's honest and sustainable. That said, before anyone gets all angry at me, this kind of dynamic is valid. They're sometimes called closed triads, and it is possible. People have done it successfully. You know, whatever success means in terms of a relationship. But to insist on that sort of dynamic alone, right out the gate, is not recommended. There are reasons that people going into polyamorous spaces with that mindset get absolutely slammed in the comments. Go have a look and see for yourself. That one was a doozy. I hope it helped clarify some things, and again, these videos barely skim the surface of what people need to understand about polyamory before they jump into that style of dating, or before they dismiss the whole concept as some fad for salacious millennials. I don't know. I've got so much to say on this topic, so if there is a specific aspect of polyamory that you'd like me to cover, get in touch and let me know. You can DM me or you can leave me a comment and we can keep the conversation going that way. All right, see you next time. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and share it with someone else who can benefit from it. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell so you know exactly when I've uploaded a new video. You can also book a free life coaching session with me through my website, leslievcoaching.com, and we can work together online or right here in my studio. Follow me on my socials to keep up with what I'm doing, and please get in touch with any questions, comments, or video ideas you may have. I'm Leslie V, and I'll see you in the next video.